And here this morning is Taylor Rehmet. Thanks for being here again. Good to see you.
Hey, thanks, Phil.
So it's now a two-person race. Why should somebody vote for you and not Lee Wambsgans, the Republican candidate?
Great question. This isn't really about red versus blue in this election. This is about right versus wrong. And what's wrong is we keep electing politicians that are bought and paid for by billionaires here in our state legislature. And we need someone who can actually come and try and introduce legislation and have the conversations about term limits and campaign finance reform.
This district hasn't voted for a Democrat since the 1990s, I found. What are the stakes of this election? What would the results say about where Tarrant County is right now?
Going back to it's not, blue versus red or anything like that, or the Republican versus Democrat. This is something different because there's no corporate PAC money in my campaign. I want to make sure that I'm talking about issues that others aren't on either side, because I don't answer to anyone other than the people that elect me.
And so you're saying that if there's a Republican out there in Tarrant County, you're cut and paste Democrat. How so?
Because I will go talk to those Republicans that may want to work on legislation that focuses on working folks, focuses on getting our public schools a great funding for more support staff, more teachers, and shrinking the classroom sizes. I think that would be something I want to work towards first. And if there's Republicans out there, reach out. I want to make sure that we're building coalitions or reaching across the aisle, because at the end of the day, if we cannot communicate, Republicans, Democrats, or whatever political ideology, we have to focus on the constituents, and it's people over party.
If elected, you will exist in the Texas Senate, which is ran by Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick, who does care about and represents people who do care about some of the cultural issues: gay marriage, abortion, transgender folks in sports. For those issues, how are you going to vote? How are you going to address those?
It's simple. I'm going to focus on what gets people paid more, gets the affordability crisis quelled, and what really moves the needle on people's everyday lives. The culture war stuff is there. That's a distraction. What we need to focus on is how we invest in the next generation of future Texans that need a great education in our schools. We need to focus on getting the minimum wage raised. $7.25, that's an insult in this economy. It needs to be raised, indexed to inflation, and this is a conversation we can have across the aisle to Republicans. I don't think that it's something they want to talk about, but if they do, I have to open that door, and then the voters can decide if they want to keep electing politicians that don't want to help their bottom line.
And let me push you on that, though.
Go ahead.
It is about, from what I'm hearing you, it's about what you prioritize and the message you send of these are the issues we care about. But when those issues are forced on you,
Sure.
Is it just going to be party line or voting against them because you do think it's a distraction?
I don't think it's party line. I think that it comes down to what is correct in the sense of liberty, equality, and justice. And that's what I'm going to vote towards every single time.
So, for example, like the transgender issue, it sounds like you would kind of support what I guess the main Democratic position is, which would be.
What's the main Democratic position?
In the past, they would. In the past, it was voting against bills that tried to clamp down on transgender access to sports, or restrictions on transgender folks. They have been the Democratic Party. Correct me if I'm wrong. They have been against those restrictions.
I'm gonna have to push back on you and say
Yeah.
this is not the conversations people want in politics. They want to focus on why they can't afford medicine and why they're choosing between rent and medicine. They want to find politicians that are going to represent them on those issues, because it doesn't matter if you are going through something like that if you cannot afford to eat or go to the doctor or pay your rent. It's just that simple.
I was talking with my co-host, Gromer Jeffers, who noted that you may have won this race outright already if there was more support on the Democratic side from the major power players.
Sure.
Do you feel like there was a missed opportunity there?
Could be. I was honestly just focused on the voters, going out there, talking to them, because if I have their support, it doesn't matter what else I have, as long as I can gain and build that trust and community, and so that people trust me and what we're doing, that matters more. I don't know about a missed opportunity or anything like that. I mean, we could always have that conversation, and what ifs, whatever. I'm looking to the future, and if that happens, great. If it doesn't, it doesn't. To me, I have a focus on the voters, getting out there and talking to them and listening, and I think everything else will fall in where it needs to.
Have you felt a change, or have you seen more support now that this is in the runoff, though, compared to the three-way primary?
Well, absolutely.
Okay.
I was obviously an underdog. They counted me out. I got 47.5 of the vote with $150,000, while I had two Republicans spend nearly $6 million combined. But the trust that I was talking about earlier in the community, and that I'm going to do the right thing, that's priceless. So again, that's why I don't take corporate PAC money. That's what I'm focused on.
What do you have to do in the next few days to win this election?
What we've been doing. We want to make sure that voters feel heard, that voters have an opportunity to talk to me and are able to see me. And one of the big things is hold me accountable, because that's important in politics, and that's something I think we lack. That's why I go to talk about the campaign finance reform and the term limits, because if we can hold our politicians accountable, we will actually find that the legislation isn't all this culture war stuff that's distracting from why we're being paid less and we're working harder and not getting the same result that even our parents had.
So if you get in there, that will be your priority of the more structural stuff that I'm understanding. Campaign finance reform, term limits, those aren't really the sexiest issues, for lack of a better word.
No.
So is that something you think people care about?
Great question. I know they care about having accountability in politics. I know what they're suffering right now is what's immediately in front of them, which is rent and affordability and finding a way to make it to the doctor. So those are the issues that I'm going to be first and foremost, but I want to make sure that everyone knows that we also have to be talking about why we've got here. So it's very important.
This election is just to finish the expiring term from Senator Kelly Hancock.
Yeah.
No matter what happens, do you feel like you are going to file and run for the full term in the future as well?
Already filed. The filing's already closed. I will, yes. I mean,
so we're going to see you again no matter what.
Of course, you're going to see me. And the great thing is this gives me time, because the legislative session won't start until 2027. But I can host town halls, build a team, host town halls, and start finding out the bread and butter issues that we need to focus on, not just as Democrats, but as leaders. And this will give me plenty of time to listen to the community and have them give me feedback and, again, hold me accountable to these issues. So I'll be very prepared and ready for the legislative session.